Okay, we're live.
Hello, regular Drews.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Regular Nancy Drew, episode 28. We are going to be discussing another interactive PC game, Warnings at Waverly Academy.
Game number 21.
Well, aren't you a regular Nancy Drew?
We sure hope so, and we hope you are too.
Join us as we talk Nancy Drew cover to cover and click to click.
Welcome to Regular Nancy Drew. So apparently this one was released on October of 2009, which...
You can definitely feel the October in it.
Yes, for sure. And I don't know why 2009 feels like a lost year to me. Like, I feel like I cannot remember anything about 2009. Logically, I know that we had to have been like 16 years old.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I guess. But
right?
Other than that, I have no memory of that year. So,
I mean, we were about the age that these girls were.
That's wild.
I mean, I know they're seniors, so they're probably more like 17, 18, but we were getting there. We were
wow.
The target audience for this, I feel.
Maybe that's why I like this game so much.
Maybe.
It hits so close to me.
This was also peak Gossip Girl, the first version of it. I know that there's a new one out right now. I haven't seen it, but oh man, our lives were Gossip Girl for a hot minute there in 2009, 2010.
Well, so the embarrassing thing about that is that I love Gossip Girl. I absolutely am obsessed with the OG Gossip Girl, but I didn't watch it when it was coming out.
No.
I only watched it like after the fact as a full adult.
So
well,
when did we watch it? Because I know we watched the finale together, like the very last episode. We planned it. Do you remember our big?
No,
we decided to have a fancy dinner.
What? I have no memory of this. What are you talking about?
Maybe we both started watching it in like the final season or something. Because I remember when I started it, there had already been a few seasons out already.
Hold on.
But you and I decided, because it's like Upper East Side, super classy, fancy, everything.
No.
We were like, we're going to have a fancy dinner. And so we got, hold on.
Kori, you had to have done this with someone else, because I have
it was in your bedroom.
Memory of this. No way.
Our fancy food that we were going to eat while we watched it was donut holes.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, no. This cannot be, because the last season of Gossip Girl ended in 2012. Mm-hmm. So I would have been away at college.
Maybe we were home for one weekend, because I have a vivid memory of Orlando Bloom overlooking us doing this.
I used to have some very intense Pirates of the Caribbean posters up in my room that featured heavily Orlando Bloom. No, but I didn't even have those posters up. I just had a Harry Potter poster, maybe it was Harry Potter and Pirates of the Caribbean. But I don't remember this. Maybe. Oh.
I swear we did something to celebrate, and we had like sparkling cider, non-alcoholic.
Okay, I totally would have done that. I totally would have done the sparkling.
And probably like some fruit or something.
Man, I wish I could remember this, but I absolutely cannot. That's so sad. Oh, the memory's lost to time.
So if you have not seen Gossip Girl...
Anyway.
Maybe that'd be a good one to watch before playing this game.
Yeah.
Not that it really has anything to do with the plot or
just
anything.
The vibes.
It's just a boarding school, yeah.
Well, the Gossip Girl's in a boarding school.
No, it's not. You're right. It's a prep school, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a prep school. But the premise is that I'm sure literally, who doesn't know the premise of Gossip Girl? But if you really don't, if you really, really don't, basically the premise is that there is this like mystery person, question mark, who sends out like these blasts. It was in 2007, so they're through a blog, right? All right.
Mm-hmm.
of like basically gossip and like things that are really damaging to all the characters in the show. And she's basically like this ever-present presence that terrorizes these very, very wealthy children.
Yes.
They go to this boarding school in the Upper East Side. So the way that transfers into this game that we're here to talk about today is that it takes place at a boarding school, and there are like these texts that go around that basically release a little bit or air some students' dirty laundry a little bit. And there's this malevolent, mysterious person who is acting as quote unquote Black Cat, who is basically kind of threatening, blackmailing students into, I guess, leaving. That's kind of unclear, and we need to talk about that too.
Yeah, I would say that the crime that we go there to solve isn't, or not crime, but like the mystery we go there to solve isn't actually what ends up being the motive.
Oh yeah,
in the end, if that makes sense. Like it flips and you realize what it actually is. But yeah, sorry,
I definitely made a note of that as well. But yeah.
I'm getting way too ahead of ourselves there, though. So
yeah. So why we were talking about Gossip Girl is because of the gossipy, life-ruining vibes that this this game also has. Oh.
And the, just the glamorization of high school and how cutthroat and dramatic it all has to be.
Yeah.
Boyfriend stealing and all that, high school drama.
Listen, I'm here for it. I am 100% here for it. I'm not gonna lie. Okay,
right.
So yeah.
Should we do
first
our 3
impressions?
Words?
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, first impressions. I guess we kind of already covered the first impressions. This is
Gossip Girl.
As Gossip Girl. So yeah, 3 words. First word, Gossip Girl.
Yes.
Second word, Edgar Allan Poe, which are 2 things you would not think are in conjunction, and yet they are.
But the vibes that meetup creates is just absolutely splendid.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna say winter.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's kind of out of left field, but that's such a big part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The further you progress, the more snow lands on the ground, which I really appreciate the animation of it, because it's a lot better than previous games in that regard. I thought it was really well done.
So it's gonna be Gossip Girl, or like Edgar Allan Poe in Gossip Girl in the snow, wintertime. Yes. I have to make a note because I just had the best idea for a meme that now I'm going to make for when this episode comes out. Oh, okay.
I know the game was released in October, but it's during their break, right? So I assume like Thanksgiving break or winter break.
Yeah, it's like finals time or midterms. Midterms or finals?
Because it seems like after this break, they're going to have the big exams and stuff due. So maybe it's like Thanksgiving time. So that when they come back, it'll be the very end and that'll be finals and all.
Well, I think so. I think they talked about midterms. I'm pretty sure what they're studying for is midterms. And so they are in upstate New York. So that might help narrow down the time too. But I don't know if they're on the semester system or the quarter system, but I think they talked about semesters.
Being a private school like that, it could be a completely different school year than what we're used to. Yeah.
Right. But I kind of wonder if it is not like the end of the year, but the beginning of the year midterms, like February, March.
Well, it's set in October, so I was thinking more before.
It came out in October.
Right.
Is it set in October? Because they don't talk about Halloween or anything like that.
I just kind of assumed that it was like October, November time because then the break would be coming up. I don't know. The school year we're used to, it's like you get a short break for Thanksgiving, and then you have finals after Thanksgiving, and then you have your winter break, so that when you come back, it's like a fresh new semester. So that kind of limited the time frame that I was thinking of in my mind, but I don't see why February or March couldn't be realistic as well.
Yeah. Who knows?
Say that. Yeah.
Who knows?
Doesn't really matter.
It doesn't
really matter.
Doesn't at all, actually. But yeah. Should we just dive right in?
Yeah, let's get into the summary here.
All right. So we kind of talked about this a little bit already, but kind of the opening premise, as Nancy explains it to us at her center of operations, is that she is going to be going undercover at a boarding school for teen girls, so it is a girls' school, the headmistress has asked her to investigate a series of threatening notes that always precede some kind of accident. And the latest accident was so serious that the parents of the girl involved are threatening to sue the school if the perpetrator isn't found quickly. So Nancy is going to go undercover as Becca Sawyer to unmask this lever of threatening notes.
Okay, so we start off, we see this little cut scene of the boarding school. There's like a storm a couple weeks ago before Nancy actually arrives. We see a girl who we end up learning that her name is Danielle. Danielle receives a note that says "Time's Up," and on the note is like a black paw print and like red scratch marks across the paper. And then she goes into a closet to get a snack out of the snack shop, and someone locks her in there. And we learn that she is claustrophobic, and so this really obviously upsets her. She starts frantically trying to yell, to call out to get somebody to come get her out, and banging on the door. And we learn that it was like the next morning before anybody actually finds her. So when she is finally let out of the closet, she's so shaken up by this that she actually ends up having to go home.
Yeah. So we flash back to present day, and we, as Nancy / Becca, are meeting our new roommate, Corinne. She seems awkward at first. She implies accidentally that she is like upset kind of about being stuck rooming with us, and goes on and on about how busy she is and how successful she is and how smart she is and all of that stuff. And she tells us about Danielle and that situation and everything that happened with her with the closet. She also tells us about the black cat notes, and that the first note is a warning, but the second note always precedes something bad happening. And last week, another girl, Megan Vargas, who also lived on this floor, got a second note and then ate something at dinner that she was allergic to and had such a bad reaction that she also had to go home. So everyone is starting to get pretty freaked out about this, everybody on this floor who is subject to these notes. Corinne is confused about why Nancy doesn't have a laptop with her, and tells us that we need to go to the library to read the student guide and the demerit policy on the school's website. Which is kind of important because basically this sets up kind of the framework for us as a student at this school and kind of the rules we have to follow in order for us to successfully stay in the game. And so she also tells us that only seniors who are viable candidates for the valedictorian live on this floor, and whoever is named valedictorian gets a full ride scholarship to any university that she'd like to attend. Isn't that insane, Kori?
Mm-hmm.
That is an insane scholarship. Because imagine like getting a full, you could like, and presumably this is a prep school. Presumably all of the schools that these girls are going to be applying to are pretty expensive and Ivy League. So
prestigious.
Like, right. So like, it's going to be like, having to pay for a full ride to any of them. Like that's got to be so much money in that scholarship fund. So this is a big deal. And Nancy kind of immediately connects the fact that, only the girls who are getting black cat notes are girls who are in the running to be valedictorian. And so it seems as though a likely motive is that whoever is sending these notes is doing it because of that reason.
Also, I just realized these roommates, Nancy's undercover name, Becca and Corinne, it's like knockoff names of our own names. Like...
Oh my gosh, it is! Isn't that amazing? Oh, I didn't notice
I'd never noticed that before.
Oh, that's so cute. I mean, kind of, until you think about...
I mean, Corinne is a mess. She is so weird and...
Well, I mean, Nancy / Becca is a mess in her own right, so...
Very fair, yeah.
Oh, we can be messes together, Kori.
Well, Corinne has this thing where she just kind of seems bitter towards everyone else, that she's kind of a loner at school, and she tells us, like, oh, I don't have a whole lot of friends, and, oh, yeah, I'm sorry you got stuck rooming with me. It's just kind of a messy interaction. And then we learn that Nancy's cover story is that she has just left a school in France.
Yes.
And has come over here with just her purse.
Yeah.
Like you said, no laptop, no pencil, no binder,
She
anything
literally,
like that.
she doesn't even have a bag. She literally has a purse with her. That's it.
We'll have to talk about how bad Nancy is at being undercover in this game.
Okay. How bad Nancy is at being undercover.
But anyway, next we get to explore a little bit. We look around the bedroom. Obviously, we're in like a dorm style situation here where the game itself is set basically just in what's called Ramsey Hall, which, fun fact, we could talk about this later, it's just one building of the campus. In her interactives like imagining of this game, it's a much larger campus, but we're just set in this one building where we only get to see 2 floors. I think it is a 3-story building, but we only see the top floor, which is if you look at it from the outside, I'm pretty sure that there's 3 floors.
I see.
Or maybe since the library is like 2 stories tall, maybe there's not.
That makes sense too, and I hadn't thought about that, but that definitely makes sense because obviously they say only the girls on this floor are in the running to be valedictorian. That presumes that there are more floors that girls live on.
Right. And other buildings as well, so there might be like a building just for the freshmen or whatever.
Right, but presumably they're just talking about this building.
Oh, okay.
You know? Because like otherwise...
I think there would be a second floor, probably.
Right, so we're just on the 3rd floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this top floor is all bedrooms, so we share a room with Corinne. We do have a couple other rooms upstairs, and then the bottom floor, which we also get to see, has the really big, beautiful library, a big foyer with like a piano in it, and then we have a classroom area, and then like a little rec room area with a snack bar thing, and then like a TV area and some games like air hockey and a dartboard. But we look around our room a little bit more and we see a note has been left on Nancy's desk from someone named Rachel Hubbard. And she's saying, hey, welcome to Waverly. I need your help on something. Come see me at the end of the hall. Which is going to be a big theme in this game. And also all the games where the characters need Nancy to do their chores for them. But then right as we walk out of our room to go talk to the other characters, we run into someone who's coming down the hallway. We learn that her name is Izzy Romero. She makes a rude comment about Nancy's hair color. But she tells us that she is the student body president and she takes Nancy's cell phone so that she can set us up on the quote unquote local network.
I have no idea what this means.
Which I think is just like adding us to the text chain so that we can get all of the gossip. And then after she does this, yes, we do throughout the game, we will get text messages and they'll be from random. It doesn't even say who the sender is. It'll just be random, like, OMG, did you hear this? And then the gossip comes through like every hour, basically. So we get a lot of gossip.
So directly next door to our room and Corinne's room is Mel Corballis's room. And Mel she literally calls her the resident goth. I would not describe her in such a way because there's not that much about her that appears goth to me, except for her decor choices,
This we'll have to talk about as well. I have some Ned complaints.
Ned complaints?
Yes.
Interesting.
We'll
Interesting.
Sorry.
Oh, right. He says that, doesn't he? Yeah. I wanted to talk about that too.
Yeah, I don't like it.
She just has pink streaks in her hair, basically. That's the only, and I think she has a nose piercing or something, but that's it. Literally, that's it. And she is also constantly playing the cello. So, like, anytime during the day that you're on that floor, you're gonna hear Mel playing the cello, practicing the cello in her room,
which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Nice cello music. She's pretty good. We learned that her roommate was Megan Vargas, which is the girl that had the allergic reaction and had to go home. And Mel will give us her phone number so that we can call her and ask her about it. We also asked Mel about our roommate, Corinne, and she says that Corinne is really smart, but she doesn't have very many friends. And she says about Corinne that, we actually get along pretty well because she self-identifies herself as being a social outcast. So that is Mel Corvallis. So down the hall is Rachel's room. This is the girl who asked us to help her with a project. And if we go in there, she tells us that she is desperate for help with this web design project. And she wants us to take pictures and upload them to the school website. Nancy, of course, obliges because what else is Nancy going to do but say yes to this kind of thing? And so that gets added to our to-do list. We can also call Megan Vargas, who We can call
The
Megan
allergic
Vargas
reaction girl.
the allergic reaction girl. That's a terrible way to say that, but yes, the allergic reaction girl. She actually doesn't tell us that much, and I used to think that this conversation was more impactful than it was to me this time around, and I don't really remember why. But basically, she just tells us that she thinks that Izzy Romero is the black cat because she is the sneakiest, most spiteful person that she knows. Wow. So hot goss from Megan Vargas about that. If we go downstairs into the rec room, we will meet Leela Yadev, who is juggling a soccer ball. She is basically our, goth, or I almost said our resident goth, our resident jock girl. She also has a wrapped wrist, which we learn kind of from subtext from some other people that they think she's faking this injury, which is interesting. She tries really hard to get us to play air hockey with her. But we tell her we can't because we're too busy with Rachel's project, and she says, ooh, sorry about that. She tells us she thinks that Rachel is schizoid. She'll say something one day and then deny it the next day. And so Leela thinks that she could be the black cat just because she acts sketchy. And she also tells us apparently Rachel flunked a test last week that knocked her out of the running for valedictorian. So she thinks that this could potentially be her motive because she's upset about this or trying to get back into the runnings for valedictorian somehow.
Cutthroat stuff.
She also tells us, and this is just kind of for future reference, she tells us that she has a boyfriend that goes to Oxborough, which is the boys' school down the road. And so it's fine, go away. We don't need to play air hockey. I'm going to call my boyfriend anyway. You just help me pass the time. So thanks.
Next, we're able to go explore the library a little bit. We see that Izzy is camped out at one of the desks in there. So we talk to her again and we get all of her gossip. Of course, she's student body president. She knows everyone and everything that there is to know about this school. So she gives us her opinions on everyone. And she actually tells us that she thinks that Mel is the black cat, just entirely based on her aesthetic of being a goth.
Oh my God.
Obviously, that makes you want to sabotage things and hurt your classmates, whatever. But she does also tell us this story about one of the founding teachers of Waverly, whose name was Rita Hallowell. Apparently, no one really liked her as a teacher, and students would constantly play pranks on her. And then one day, she got so scared of one of the pranks that the students played on her that she actually had a heart attack and died. And during her funeral, her cat, who was a black cat that she always had with her, did they say the name of the cat? Usher.
No.
The cat's name was Usher.
I think later they say it, but yeah.
Yeah. Usher runs off into the woods and he didn't come back, but when he eventually did come back, every time he would show up, something bad would happen. And so Izzy thinks that all this black cat mess is just somebody trying to play off of that old drama tale or whatever. Mm-hmm. Then at this moment, our cell phone goes off and we check it. Rumor is Mel has gotten another black cat note. We can also log in. There's a public use computer in the library. We can log into the school's website, and it gives us all the demerit information, and it tells us that all the seniors have like a work duty that they're in charge of, and Nancy's responsibility is going to be the snack shop. So that this means that we have to fill snack orders once a day, which I love doing this. It's such a fun little mini game.
Best part, favorite part of the game.
But yes, we also learn we can search through the library catalog, and we learn that the book Black Cat and Other Post Stories has gone missing from the library. So nobody knows where this is, and they're actually offering special credits to anyone who can find the book. So there is a special locked cabinet at the back of the library where all of their super old valuable books go, and it's locked, and we have to go get the key from Corinne, which means another chore that we have to do. We have to help them with their homework, but then she gives us the key for this cabinet, and we can read this book called The Story of Four, which there were 4 founding teachers of Waverly, so we read a little bit more about them and more about Miss Rita Hallowell, which is the teacher with the black cat. And we learned that growing up, she absolutely loved reading. She was a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan, and she ended up going with her family to New York one day when she was really young and somehow like met Poe or learned about Poe on this trip and decided she was not going to go home with her family. She was going to stay in New York, and then somehow ended up like becoming a nurse. And then while she was a nurse, guess who was admitted to the hospital where she was working at shortly before his death? Edgar Allan Poe himself. So we get a little hint that maybe Rita Halliwell knows something about Poe's final days. Maybe there's a little bit more to uncover here, but that's really all that we learn here, which of course we don't know the real truth behind this because there is the real life mystery there. And she eventually, after leaving her nursing position, became a teacher and then moved to upstate New York, where she founded Waverly with the other faculty members there, and then died unexpectedly at the age of 41, like Izzy was already telling us. And then we do also see a picture of the four founders outside of Ramsey Hall at Waverly. And there's like this interesting detail on the cornerstone that you can see in the picture. So I'm going to have to go check that out later.
Yeah, actually, we can solve this puzzle pretty immediately. So if you go outside and look, we immediately notice there's something different about the way the cornerstone looks now than how it does in the picture. And so we can end up manipulating the stone center of this, and if we solve that correctly, then the cornerstone opens up, like literally physically opens, and inside there's a little space where there is a shiny metal object and like a diary. But immediately as we like go to try to take it out, Casper, the beloved albino squirrel that lives in the nearby tree that all the students love, steals the shiny object and runs away. So we can't get that yet, but we do get the diary. And reading that, it turns out it's Rita Halliwell's diary. It contains some really cryptic entries that end up helping us solve a lot of the puzzles around this building. But it also mentions that Rita assembled a group and charged them with protecting and preserving her quote-unquote hidden treasure. And a chant will someday reveal its location, but only to someone with dogged curiosity and capacity for clear thought. So here we are, Nancy Drew. So this is interesting. So now we know that Rita Halliwell has hidden a treasure somewhere, presumably here. So we get kind of a series of texts throughout the game, and these alert us to obviously drama that's going on. So the first one we get is that Izzy has a date with Leela's boyfriend, now ex, presumably. So if we ask Izzy about this, she brushes it off like it's no big deal. He just asked her out and she said, yes, it's a free country, right? Whatever. But Leela is pissed about this, and she blames Izzy, even though Nancy suggests that maybe Jacob is the problem here. But Leela, this is very interesting too. We probably have to talk about this. But Leela says that Jacob is just like any other guy, a sheep. And he'll, basically follow anyone to a greener pasture. But she is planning on getting some kind of revenge. And Izzy better watch out. Jeez Louise. These children. Another text that we get is that Izzy has gotten a second black cat note. And then we see a text with a picture of Izzy and Corinne. And we go talk to Izzy. She is extremely upset about this. She says this is obviously photoshopped. I would never hang out with Corinne. I don't know what the hell this is. And Corinne, of course, says, no, that's totally real. Me and my BFF Izzy, just hanging out.
Yeah.
So funny. And then we get a text that Mel has been busted for plagiarizing a paper. And if we go talk to Mel about this, she vehemently denies this. She says that her teacher checked her paper using an online tool, and it came up as matching a paper available on the internet. Mel thinks that this is the result of her second black cat note that she got earlier, and she asked us for help in proving that she was framed. And after some investigating, we learned that the paper Mel supposedly plagiarized was uploaded to Paper Trail after Mel turned her paper in by someone named Jacob Price. Interesting.
Where have we seen a Jacob before?
Is it maybe perhaps an Oxborough boy? ? Kori?
Possibly.
So we'll have to talk to someone about that later.
But before long, it is curfew because we do have strict rules in this dormitory where we live. There is also a resident advisor named Paige who will give you demerits if you are out of bed too late. And it did take me a while to remember how to actually go to bed because I thought just being in the room and clicking on the bed after curfew would make you go to sleep. So I did end up getting some demerits for being up too late. Because you have to set the alarm on your cell phone, and that's how Nancy goes to bed. But I had forgotten that since my last playthrough. But we do go to sleep. But then in the middle of the night, we are awoken by some tapping on our window. And we go look, and there is Casper sitting outside of our window. And what's in his mouth but that little gold thing that he stole from us earlier today?
It's taunting us.
I know. So Nancy obviously climbs out the window onto the tree branch. And then Casper, the squirrel, he starts jumping up the tree branches, and Nancy follows him up to the very top of the tree where she finds his little hidey hole in the tree and manages to find his little gold thing that he's stolen from us. We start to climb back down the tree to go back inside, but then we hear some strange noises from down below. We actually hear some chanting sounds. So we look down, and at the base of the tree, like standing in a circle, is like, what is it, like 12 girls?
No, it's like 6 or 8 or something. It's not that many.
Oh, okay. There's a number of, we can assume students, all in black robes. We can't see their faces or who they are. And then there is one robe that's like a different color. So we assume that that's like the leader of this group. And they're just chanting. And then they finish their chant and they go back inside. They leave. And then Nancy just climbs back from the tree and goes back to bed. But then the next morning, we can go outside and look around the tree, and we find a little hair bow sitting at the base of the tree. So we go and ask around to see if anybody knows whose hair bow this belongs to. And what do you know? This matches one of the ones that Mel wears in her hair.
So that morning, there was also a black cat note waiting for us that's been slipped under the door, and it says, "Go back to France."
Right.
Which is like not the most creative note, but all right. If we go confront Mel about the barrette that we found under the tree, she at first denies it, but after we basically threaten to expose her, she will reluctantly tell us that it was a meeting of the Blackwood Society, which is a secret society that goes back to a couple years just after the school's founding. And that membership is completely anonymous, and even the members don't know who each other are, and they only speak in whispers so that they can't recognize each other's voices. And that once a month, there's just a text that, they're going to have a meeting, and they go out to that oak tree and they chant, and that's it. Crazy.
How exciting.
Yeah. So at this point, we will get an anonymous text that the missing Poe book from the library special collections is in Izzy's room, and that if we want to go get it, because I think we have spoken to a few people asking about it before, that if we still want it, we should go in and get it. So we go break into Izzy and Leela's room with an ID card that we found in a book, and we find a cloak similar to the one that the Secret Society member was wearing amongst Izzy's things. We do also find the Poe book in there. So when we confront Izzy about being a member, she tells us, "Oh, fine, shut up about it. Yes, I am." And we ask what the chant is that they were saying. And she says that it is, 3 is fine, but 5 is more. Even 19 defeats 4. Should just 7 become lore, at least 2 will find the door. She says it's just nonsense, that it doesn't mean anything, but it is obviously going to mean something to us later. So
later in the game, we end up finishing that list of photos that Rachel needs for us to take, and she's like, "Oh, great. Here's another list of photos that I need you to take." And that list is a list of things that are, I guess, quote unquote, iconic to Waverly, like the school seal, the entryway to the main hall, the the big oak tree in the front yard. But one of them is a like a wooden map of the US, and that map is inside of a locked classroom. So we have to wait until after curfew and everyone has gone to bed to sneak downstairs, break into the locked classroom, and take a picture of the US map. So we sneak downstairs, get that picture, and as we are leaving the classroom, we see Rachel is sneaking away from the snack bar with a tray of food. And we're like, oh, that's kind of strange. Why is she up past curfew? Let's follow her. Obviously, we're going to go spy on her. So we do. We break into her room. We see that no one's in there, though, but a panel in the wall has like just shut itself behind Rachel. So we're like, okay, there's obviously a secret room behind this wall. So we go, and there's a little puzzle where you have to figure out how to open the panel in the wall. But you open the panel up in the wall, and you end up going into like this attic room behind Rachel's room, and you see two Rachels standing there in the attic room. They both kind of jump back. They're super surprised to see Nancy, but then they're like, I guess the jig is up. We'll tell you what's going on. These are identical twins named Rachel and Kim, who didn't have a great childhood. Their mother died really young. Dad had no idea what to do for them. And so instead of going to foster care, which was going to be like plan A, essentially, they decided to apply for a bunch of scholarships for boarding schools, but ended up only getting one scholarship. So they decided they were going to split it, and then somehow luckily got this room with the bonus room off the side, and then figure out how to like get the food leftovers from the snack bar for the day, and that's what the other one eats, and then they split classes, and it's there's a lot to
this is bananas
and discuss here.
This doesn't make any
Absolutely
sense.
Bananas. And we learned that Nancy's the only person to know about this, except the black cat, whoever they might be, has found out about them and is blackmailing them into delivering the notes for people. So they are not the black cat, but they are the ones that have been leaving the notes under people's doors.
So interesting.
Big uncovering here. Yeah.
So eventually through solving a lot of the puzzles throughout this building, we find a bunch of the gold tokens. One of them we got back from the squirrel. There was another one in the classroom. There's a bunch of them littered around. Actually, I think there's 4, but
I think there's 4. Yeah, no, there's 4.
There's 4. Okay.
They're all based off of Poe stories.
Right. There's the cat, there's the bug, and then like
the orangutan, and then the raven.
Right. So once we found all of those, we can unlock a panel in the basement, inside of which we find a blueprint of the basement that seems to indicate there's a hidden room behind the boiler, and a picture of Rita Hallowell and her cat that we need for the project that we're helping Rachel with. And so once we take a picture of that and upload it to the school website for Rachel asks us to get Corinne's award-winning paper because she needs to upload that to the website as well. In the process of doing that, we get a second black cat note, a text that Izzy has been bitten by the black cat. And if we go talk to her, she's freaking out because her term paper was somehow deleted from her computer. And she's going to have to start completely from scratch and will never be done in time. And so she is basically out of the running for valedictorian because there's no way that she'll be able to get it done in time by the due date. And so once we are able to get the essay from Corinne, which we have to do a couple things for her first, we read that and we see that she is an expert on Poe and Miss Hallowell. She writes that Poe died with a key to his trunk in his pocket, and a literary rival claimed he was Poe's literary executor and demanded access to that key and the trunk. But once he somehow got this permission, once he opened the trunk, there was nothing inside of it, nothing of value. So the question kind of is, when Poe died, was there something valuable left in the trunk, or did someone preemptively remove something from that trunk to keep it from Poe's literary rival?
Because the thought was that he had an unfinished work that the rival was going to try to destroy so it could never be published, and then didn't want his family to find out. But the world never knew.
So obviously we want to go talk to Corinne about this. So when we go talk to her, the room's empty. She's not there. So this is an opportunity for us to snoop at her desk. And when we do, finally, because she's always there,
Yes.
But so when we do, we find some blueprints on her desk and a sticky note that says cellar, and also a note with Izzy's computer password on it. That's suspicious. So it seems like Corinne may have some explaining to do. So there's a sticky note on her desk that said cellar. So we're going to head down to the cellar to try to find her because she might be there. And once we're down in the cellar, we hear a noise that sounds like it's coming from behind the furnace. So we remember there is a secret room from the blueprints behind the furnace. So we solve a puzzle to open that, where we have to crawl through the furnace to get to the secret room.
Why not?
I'm sorry, what? We have to talk about that too, because that's literally insane. Like, what if it was lit? Like, what? And also, shouldn't it be lit? Because it's like wintertime. So you would think they would need the heat from this furnace. Unless there's another furnace somewhere else, and this is like a dummy furnace, which, why the heck would that be the case? How is this possible?
And Nancy learns like minutes prior that there's supposedly a secret room behind this. Doesn't do any double checking to see if it's still there, that it's not filled in, that she's going to get through this furnace and there's not going to be anywhere to go and now she's trapped. Why not? Just crawl right through. Go on in, Nancy.
What if you crawled through the furnace and then the furnace kicks on?
Right.
Or someone starts it and then it's like, well.
Barbecue Nancy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway.
So yeah, we crawl through the furnace and we find there is like a stone table in the center of this room. And that's pretty much all it is. It's just an empty room with this table in there. And there is a book sitting on this table. And Corinne comes through another door in the room and explains that she has been looking for the treasure that Rita Halliwell hid in the school so many years ago. And in fact, this is the treasure right here. This is Edgar Allan Poe's unfinished, unpublished manuscript. Last thing he ever wrote, and when he was on his deathbed, he told her, I'm afraid that my literary rival, what is his name, Rufus Griswold?
Griswold,
Rupert, Griswold is going to try to be sneaky and steal this book, or not gonna, hand it over to my family or anything. So I want you to have this key and, go get the book and hide it so that it's safe. So Corinne kind of tells us her theory about all of this and says that in the course of her research, she had kind of uncovered, all this information about Halliwell that the world had not known before. So, this whole time we're thinking she is being the Black Cat to kind of pick off these other valedictorian candidates so that she can get that scholarship. No, it actually turns out she has been looking for this treasure and needed the dorm building to be somewhat empty so that she could have free reign to look around and go into all the rooms. So that's why she's been black catting, so that she could kind of get everyone out of her way so that she had time to look. But that's what she tells us right before she snatches the book and runs out of the room and tells us, you know what, Nancy, you got plenty of time to think about this. Hope you're smart enough to get yourself out of this one. And then she seals us in the room.
And then a swinging blade comes down from the ceiling and starts slowly swoosh, 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 lowering towards the ground. Like we're in like some kind of horror booby-trapped room. We have to talk about this as well because this is bananas. And so we have to solve a puzzle like really quickly in order to escape from this room without dying, being decapitated by this swinging blade. Oh. Anyway, so
I have so many questions about this.
Me too.
Yes.
So anyway, once we do that, we're able to exit the same way that Corinne did. And turns out the way she came in, or I guess actually I don't know if this is the way I think she came in, she must have come in through the cellar as well. But the escape route that she took takes her into Mel's room. And Mel is like standing at the door with her arms crossed, blocking Corinne from leaving and saying like, no, what the heck is going on? You're not about to walk out of my room. You just came out of a panel in my wall. Tell me what the heck is going on, or I'm not moving, so Go Mel. Way to go, Mel.
She just entered my room through the wall.
Yeah, it's a very funny scene. It's very funny scene. So we're able to say,
line, yes.
Yeah, we're able to say, Corinne, stop right there. And, we basically get in the following cutscene, we explain that we told Mel the whole story or whatever, and that Corinne is the black cat and that she blackmailed the twins to carry it out. But now with this revealed, she's been expelled. And now that there's a culprit, Megan's parents have dropped their lawsuit, and she returned to the school and was awarded a scholarship. I don't know if this is the scholarship, because I
don't think so.
I have questions about that.
We don't actually find out who valedictorian ends up being. Mm-hmm. But it's just a scholarship, I'm pretty sure. Because I've stopped the game just to look at that part. But yeah.
And we also learned that when Corinne was expelled, she basically told about the twins' secret. But alumni of Waverly heard about this and heard about the twins both using the same scholarship and insisted that both of the twins be able to continue at school and paid their tuition and full room and board for the rest of the year. So that's the wrap up of our, of Warnings at Waverly. And then we get an end credit scene for our next game, which is going to be Trail of the Twister.
What an ending.
It's interesting, I will say.
A little bit of a plot twist.
Definitely a plot twist. Like, the biggest reveal is like this whole setup that we understand as like, okay, well, someone's leaving black cat notes to like intimidate the competition, to psych girls out so that they can, I guess, study better and win this scholarship. Turns out, no, not at all. It's just someone leaving black cat notes to like physically get girls to leave their rooms so that they can like explore them. To be honest, like, this does not add up to me. Like, why does she need to like intimidate the other girls to leave to be able to like look around? Like, surely she could like break into people's rooms when they were just like out to lunch, like out at dinner or whatever. Why does she have to like get them to like leave school? I don't understand.
I'm curious to know how many secret passageways are in this place that she even needs. Real. That she thinks it would be in someone's bedroom, You'd really have to conceal it really well for a student to be living there for a year and not notice it in a pretty small space, So
yeah,
it seems unlikely that it would be in a bedroom itself. And we do learn later you have to go outside and then into the basement just to get to it. So it doesn't really, exactly. It's not really.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't benefit her as much as she probably thinks it does to
right,
do
like,
all this.
Surely, well, it just seems to me like for someone so smart, presumably, like, surely there's a better solution that you could do without arousing so much suspicion. Like,
right.
You wouldn't want other people to be investigating or curious about who's doing this thing when really just what you want to do is to be able to sneak around. Like,
right.
Why don't you instead like trick people into leaving their rooms, break into their rooms, and look for secret passageways if that's what you're doing, and then do it as many times as you need to find it. There could be a million reasons. Like, girls aren't in their rooms 24/7.
Right, except for Corinne.
Which doesn't make any sense either. If she's supposedly out,
shouldn't she be looking?
Right. And also, the people who like have left school are, one, her roommate, which doesn't make any sense because she would have unrestricted access to her own room and can just wait until her roommate goes to the freaking bathroom to look around or whatever.
Do you really think you're going to be the only student left in this school or the only senior left?
Right.
How is that going to work? It's going to be pretty obvious at a point who the black cat is if it's just you left.
Yeah, yeah. And also, like, another girl's roommate, which is like, well, but you still have to get Mel out of her room if you want to look around Mel's. And I guess she tries with the plagiarism thing, but, like, it's just weird. It's just weird. Yeah.
And how did she get Jacob to do the... I mean, I know that that's a plot point to shed suspicion on Izzy or Leela even potentially, but how does she get Jacob to, like, submit the fake paper
that they end up
using to accuse Mel off of?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense either. Weird. It's a very weird motive, a very weird turnout. like, for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would have made so much more sense if it was someone intimidating us or, like, trying to intimidate students to win the scholarship, because that makes so much more sense.
Yeah. Except, I mean, if she really has to focus this hard on her studies in order to make valedictorian, she's spending a lot of time on things that are not her studies.
Mm-hmm.
Sabotaging, staying up late at night just to blackmail the twins. Like, you would be better off using your time just to study,
Well,
or work on your
so,
projects.
to be fair, I think the point of that is that she's not necessarily that interested in the scholarship itself. She's more
Right.
interested in this unpublished manuscript of Edgar Allan Poe, because if she can find that unpublished manuscript, then she's set for life, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
not only I don't know if she would get any kind of, like, rights or whatever for finding it, probably not, but if she somehow did,
she'd be famous. Definitely.
She would be famous. She would be able to live off, she could get into any college, she could get a full ride to any college she wanted just from that alone. Like, she doesn't need the scholarship from the school.
But even if that had been her motive to, like, for the valedictorian race, then that's why she's doing it. Even that wouldn't make sense.
Right. Yeah.
But yes. Okay, not to get to not to pick it apart too much before we even really get into all the discussions, but I'm confused about why this treasure, the manuscript is hidden away at this point anyway.
Yes. Why would Rita Halliwell not want to publish it?
Right. She should tell someone that she has it or do something with it. The only reason she was hiding it in the first place was to keep it away from Griswold until all of his estate matters were settled. Any time in the years after that,
she could have
published it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Instead, she goes through all this trouble to build a place to hide it, teach this secret society this chant, which that chant we eventually use to know what order to put the little gold stars in. I don't know if we said that, but
I thought it was to unlock the boiler. I thought it was to unlock
maybe
the boiler.
that is.
Though the gold stars is from the book.
Of course. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So, but to teach them this chant to pass down through generations and generations, surely it would have been easier just to publish it and then there not be a mystery.
Yeah. She also somehow rigs this room with a literal swinging blade like booby trap for this book. But surely, shouldn't she want someone to find it? Like, surely the whole point of setting this elaborate thing up, which, one, why is it even necessary, like you said, but two, why would you want to kill someone who just found the book? Surely you want them to take it out into the world and show people this amazing last work of Edgar Allan Poe if you're such a fan.
Right.
So what? She's just crazy. So the end result of that is Rita Halliwell is certifiable. Oh man,
that feels like a pretty big plot hole to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, massive plot hole that I never realized before. How does it? I just don't understand. This is the thing in replaying these games is like, how did I go through my life and just not realize these massive plot holes or like weird stuff? Like, did I just play these games with my brain absolutely turned off? Like, what?
Yeah, maybe.
Because I wasn't stupid at like 16, 17. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
No, it's totally fine. I didn't really think too closely about it my first couple playthroughs.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Okay. What else?
Yeah, I have nothing else to say about that, just because it's just like, why didn't she? We have no answer.
No answer. No, I mean,
pretty big plot point.
The only thing that makes sense is that like she actually didn't want it published, and she actually or she got so paranoid about whatever Griswold or whatever that she thought that this was necessary. But I don't know.
Is Rufus Griswold the real person?
I think so.
Yeah,
let me check really quick. Yeah, he was. He was an editor, and they had a famous rivalry, him and Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's another critique I have about this game, is I totally understand why they couldn't put, like, Poe's works themselves into the game, because copyright and all that, they can't just have his book as a part of the game. It would have been nice. I would have liked to have been able to read some Poe throughout the course of this game, especially because we have this massive library that we don't get to explore too much of. I think there's only like 3 or 4 books that we can actually flip through. But I would have liked some more detail on Poe. I feel like a lot of the game assumes that the player has already read, if not all of his works, but at least some of them, which I had before playing this game. But if I hadn't, I wonder how that would have impacted the game for me, if I would have been a little bit more lost of like, what is going on? And I don't really understand the theme of the cat with everything, so I would have liked more backstory on him, or maybe we find an article about Rufus Griswold and their rivalry or whatever, so that we would have more context for the ending of the game. But perhaps that would have spoiled some of the surprise factor as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I had definitely also been, exposed to Edgar Allan Poe prior to playing this game. But I do think that this game kind of alerted me, although I wasn't necessarily too interested in it at the time, but like alerted me to the fact that like there was definitely more to this Poe story, and that the Poe story, like his life story in and of itself, was actually pretty mysterious, which I thought was super cool. Like, the idea that like we don't really know like how or why Edgar Allan Poe died to like this day. Like there are a lot of like theories or whatever, but like his death is pretty mysterious, and he died pretty young, and the thought that like he could have had a lot of more work in him, or possessed, right? So like it's definitely just interesting, but yeah, it would have been nice to be able to explore that more thoroughly in the game. But okay, let's see what else. Do we want to talk about how the heck this Rachel thing works?
Yes, let's talk about Rachel.
So she and her sister, Rachel and Kim, are supposedly splitting classes. So some of them go to one class, some of them go to the other, so that one person's taking physics, one person is taking, trig or whatever. But like, if that's the case, shouldn't their workload be 50% less? So why does she act like she's so freaking busy? Shouldn't she only have to study for and complete projects for half of the classes that everybody else usually is?
That makes sense to me.
What the heck?
Her reasoning is for Nancy doing all this work is that she doesn't have time. And Nancy, you don't have classwork yet because it's break and you're not going to have your first assignment until after the break.
She should be swimming in time.
Yeah, she should. She should be doing twice as good as any of the other students because she has twice as much time on her hands to do all this.
The reason why, so we didn't mention this, but the reason why she supposedly failed a test was because her sister was sick one day, and so she had to go to her classes, to fill in for her, and so she had to take a test that she wasn't prepared for. That's it. But typically, she should not be busy.
Yeah.
Or struggling. And yet she is like frantic and like, begging for us to help her. It doesn't make any sense.
I understand their reasoning of why they initially accepted the scholarship, because they only could get one and they both wanted this good education. But
you're shooting yourself in the foot if you're only taking half of the classes that you're supposed to be taking.
Exactly. What was the plan? Let's say that Rachel had one valedictorian. Are they going to be?
Out
they're
in the
both
world?
going to be Rachel through college.
Yeah.
And they're going to split a college degree.
What
Absolutely
about
not.
when
How's
they need to when they need to get a job out in life or whatever? Are they just gonna are they gonna both go to this job as twins, or is one of them just gonna take the job? Like, what is that gonna be like?
I don't get it. They didn't really think it through, and like we said, luckily they had the bonus room off of Rachel's room where she could sleep.
So I don't know when they said that their mom died, but like, this is what doesn't make sense to me. Is like, they have presumably gone to this school for more than just their senior year. So they would have had to have been doing this for potentially up to 4 years at this point. They didn't have that room the whole time because this floor is only for seniors, for valedictorian candidates. So how did they work that in previous years? How did they hide that there was 2 of them in previous years when she probably had to have a roommate? Like, they probably had to have a roommate. That makes zero sense. But also, like, so the whole setup of it at the school makes zero sense. The future forward thinking of it makes zero sense. But also what makes zero sense is the fact that this is effective at the very beginning, because, like, regardless of, like, yeah, I can see how, you know, you could get a scholarship and you could sneakily, you know, potentially sneak your sister into the school or whatever. But if they're being raised by their father, who they say, or now they're in the care of their father, who they say is clueless, and they were potentially going to go into foster care, that means that somebody was involved at that point to where, like, foster care was raised as a possibility, which means there was probably a social worker or something involved. How did they lose track of, like, a child? Like, if the scholarship was just for one girl, like, how did nobody have eyes on both of these children and be like, where are they going? Like, or going to see the school or taking them to the school, or, like, you know, like, what?
Right.
What?
Are we supposed to believe that they just told Dad, hey, we both got a scholarship, but we only have one letter, so bye, see you later? And Dad's just like, okay, sure.
Right.
Is he that incompetent that he can't just send his children to public school and then they both get the same education?
Well, and, like, it seems to be like that they are, you know, somewhat self-sufficient or, like, independent enough to be able to seek out scholarships on their own and achieve this on their own, make their future plans on their own. So, like, presumably, like, they're at an age, I would assume, like, 14, 15, maybe, at an age to where they don't need their dad to, like, make their lunch and, like, you know, drive them to school and stuff. Like,
yeah,
they need someone to be able to financially provide for them.
Right.
But what the way they say it is, they say that their dad was clueless on how to raise teen girls.
What does that mean?
What does that
he doesn't remember to feed them or give them a bed to sleep in?
Right. Like, what is that?
Is he beating them? Yeah.
I mean, they didn't say he was abusive. They said he was clueless. They don't say he was a bad father even. They just call him clueless. And But
if social workers are involved, that means either abuse or neglect.
Yes, that means abuse or neglect.
If he's clueless, we have to assume it's the neglect option.
Right.
That is being a bad father then. That is being harmful to them if you're not remembering, hey, they need access to food and water and a shower and a bed. Like, that's
well, and I mean, maybe they just didn't want to say that to Nancy or whatever, which is fair. But, like, I just don't understand how, like, if that was the case, if it was the case where things had progressed to a level where people had noticed that neglect was going on, the neglect was reported, and a social worker had to become involved, then how it was possible for the two of them to be able to sneak off using this one scholarship. And if that wasn't the case, I don't see how they needed the scholarship. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see why they wouldn't just be able to and want to live where they were, or come up with some other situation where they could, you know, feel like they were getting their educational needs met or whatever. Like, you know?
A lot had to fall through the cracks for this to happen. Yeah. And it's all very dark and sad if you think about it too closely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do in the future when they need a job? Are they going to have one income and just live together forever? And one of them will be the closet sister while the other one's at work?
Oh my God.
Harry Potter style.
The wife upstairs, locked in the attic.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine they try to, you know, trick a man into thinking there's only one of them. Like, oh my God. Okay, sorry. The potential future implications is hilarious to me.
Thankfully, they don't have to worry about that because alumni fought for them to get another spot.
But also, okay, so also that doesn't make sense to me now, because so now if both of them have to attend this school, then now both of them have to take all of these classes, which means that what are they going to do? Because, like, if your sister is the one who has taken, like, physics to AP physics or whatever it is that you're having to take now as a valedictorian candidate, and suddenly now you have to take AP physics too. You're like, what the heck am I doing in this class? I can't keep up, you know?
Maybe that's why they're both so busy all the time, is because they spend the time that they're not in class giving like a mini lesson to the sister who wasn't there and saying, here's what you missed today. Let me recap it for you. But they don't do a very good job of that, clearly, because when one of them has to go to the bio test that they didn't plan for, they flunk.
Maybe.
Watch them get one of them get valedictorian, and then they start the same shit over in college.
It just seems to me that, like, that wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, if it was me and I didn't have to take, you know, AP physics or whatever, I'm not going to study AP physics. Are you kidding me?
No,
absolutely not.
Wouldn't they, like, have to void all of their grades from the past year, though? If they found out, like, oh, that wasn't really you taking the bio test.
Right. Then ethically,
we have to make you retake bio, right?
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense, Kori. Make it make sense. Okay. Let's see what else.
Do you want to talk about Mel?
Sure. Our quote-unquote resident goth girl.
Our resident goth. So I do like her room. She's got some, like, black drapes with fun, like, fairy lights hanging all around the room, and there's bats hanging around. She's got a beautiful, like, pinky purple stained glass window, which I want to say is it from another game? Did they, like, reuse that? I can't remember if that was, like, a Blackmore window that
Could
they
it have
put
been
in her room.
not Moulin Rouge. Danger by Design, like it
could have been
from the Treasure.
It's probably it's probably one of those. Yeah, that would make sense. So she's got this beautiful stained glass. She's also got like a sampler, a stitch sampler that kind of matches everything in her room, and that's how we learn about her legacy stuff, because that's was hanging on the wall of every Waverly woman in her family or whatever.
Yeah.
She's got one of the creepy dolls from last year, and she's got a weird like handprint on her dresser that we know is like being a reference to Scarlet Hand. I think her room's very cute. It doesn't look scary like the rest of the students try to portray her as.
No.
Like, I think it's nice.
She also, like, there is, like, nothing about her that looks quote-unquote goth to me. Like, she has a nose ring. I think it's a nose ring. A nose ring.
Or a stud.
A stud and pink streaks in her hair. That's it. She's not wearing crazy makeup or anything. She's a little pale, but, like...
I think she has some eyeshadow on, but she just has personality. Like, she just is more of an individual than the rest of the girls.
Right.
They all wear the same kind of like maroon colored plaid skirt and then a variation on the uniform, like a sweatshirt or a button down top or whatever. But she has like her black blazer that goes with it. I think it looks really nice.
Yeah. And Ned seems to imply that goths are somewhat dangerous.
Ned says specifically, wow, a goth can attend a boarding school, and then calls her an obvious suspect for the black cat because she likes Poe.
Right.
And because she's a goth, and therefore is dangerous and suspicious and questionable. Why?
I don't know. Ned's an ass. I don't get it. I also don't understand because, like, so this game was put out in 2009. I can understand maybe if this was like, 1999, people having those thoughts or whatever. But like 2009? Like 2009.
Right.
I know it was a long time ago from now, but like even when I remember back in high school, people who dressed alternative or whatever weren't scary or like they were just had a fashion choice. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it was like
oh my gosh, this terrifying girl that wears pigtails and plays the cello. She's so horrifying.
Like, I understand, like, the satanic panic of the 90s and, people associating, like, that kind of culture with Satanism and, like, evil murdering things. And, like, so I get that, like, culturally. But, like, at 2009, I feel like we have strongly moved past that.
I would have hoped so. But no. A resident goth who... defies all odds by going to school.
Going to the same school that her mother and grandmother and great-grandmother went to. So shocking.
There is a funny point where we asked Mel for a favor, and she's like, well, if I'm going to do you this favor, you have to do me a favor because you're snack shop boss, and you have to go get me milk and cookies. And the reason she gives for that is because she has an image to maintain. She can't be seen doing something as soft as eating a cookie.
This is so bullshit.
That doesn't really help the image thing.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Literally nobody cares.
Oh my gosh, the goth likes food. Why?
She ate a cookie. She must not be as evil as she seems.
Oh man.
Okay, let's see.
I think that's all I have on Mel. Was there anything else you had?
No.
I just thought
I
that
love
was
Mel.
absurd.
I think Mel is
Me
probably
too.
my favorite character. Do you want to rank the characters? Let's rank the characters really quick.
Yes. Okay.
So
Mel, number one.
Mel, number one. I like
Maybe Casper actually might get number one for being a squirrel.
No, I don't like Casper.
He's the dastardly boy.
I think Casper secretly tried to murder us because of the
he did lure us into a tall tree.
Well, the tree. Okay, I'm sorry. Side note: it is seriously deranged that Nancy Drew at like 2 a.m. or whenever Casper decided to wake us up on this evening, like taps on our window. 2 a.m. We see him jumping through the tree, and we know. I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna follow a squirrel that's potentially a pound, that weighs a single pound. And we're going to know that how the squirrel jumps through this tree are the safe branches for us. 18-year-old girl.
Right.
We're going to trust that squirrel to show us where to jump on this tree. Are you kidding me? What? No!
Right.
Anyway,
and
sorry.
This is a whole puzzle as well. If you click on the wrong one, Nancy will fall out of the tree and get really injured on the ground, and we have to start over.
So I think Casper is trying to kill us. So that's why I'm not ranking Casper very highly on my list. But
that's okay. Maybe I just rank animals too highly to start with anyway. But yes, Mel's up there.
Is it weird that I like Corinne? Like,
no.
Okay. Because I think it probably goes Mel, and then I think maybe Izzy and Corinne are tied for second place.
Okay.
For me, because I think Izzy is hilarious.
Oh yeah. And
I really just appreciate her general vibe of like, I don't give a fuck about you, or anything that you do,
She gives off HBIC energy.
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
totally. And then Corinne, I appreciate like the deviousness of Corinne's plan, even though it doesn't make any sense. I like a sneaky girl. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh my gosh. Someone posted a meme about her, and I can't remember exactly what it says. I might have to find it, but I thought it was so funny. It's a picture of Corinne like with her hands crossed, like when she's sitting there looking at the book in the cellar, and it's just like, Your Honor, I was just being a girl boss.
So true. Okay, so true though. So true. So Mel, and then Corinne / Izzy, and then who else is just Leela?
Leela and Rachel Kim.
Rachel
combo.
Rachel, I forgot. Oh, okay. Rachel is the worst. Leela is rude and is definitely like braggy and like vibes that I'm not about. But I think Rachel might be the worst because she tries to like basically emotionally manipulate us into doing all of her work for her because she's so quote unquote needy. And it's like, you seem actually very competent to me if you were able to do this whole, situation with you and your sister.
Rachel did about 25% of her degree after Kim and Nancy got involved.
Yeah. So, well, okay. So I think it actually goes, for me, it goes Mel, Corinne, Izzy, Casper, Leela, and then Rachel and Kim.
Should we count Paige, the RA?
Oh, Paige is number 1 on my list. I take it back. Paige number 1 on my list.
We don't get to talk to her or anything. Just go away.
Go away. Leave me alone. Get out of here. Number 1. That's
I'm not dealing with teenagers.
No.
Get out of here.
Leave. I don't care what you need. Go away. Figure it out. Yeah. Where are you?
Yeah, no, I like that ranking.
Yeah.
Leela, for me, I get a little angry at one point. I forget who says it. They imply that she's not smart enough to be a valedictorian because she used to be really smart, but then she turned into a jock.
Ugh.
Because apparently exercising prohibits you from also thinking. I didn't really like that.
Yeah.
I totally get there's the jock versus nerd rivalry at any high school that you go to, but we can't assume that she's dumb or call her names or anything like that when she is working very hard and also happens to be carrying the school's teams. So,
yeah.
She's definitely, I think it was Izzy that says that. I think she's definitely has a rightful place in the valedictorian running. I'm sorry, but they tear her down unnecessarily.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, okay. So I want to talk about the scholarship that supposedly Megan gets when she returns from the school. So you said you paused it and you read it. What did it say?
It was just, I forget the name, but just like the recipient of whatever person's name, like it was named after someone. This scholarship for excellence in writing or something, like she'd written a paper and that got her a scholarship, but it's not the valedictorian scholarship.
Yeah, because afterwards they still say that like they don't know who is gonna, eventually win that, right? That's definitely part of the ending of it. But like, so my thought is like, so did they just give Megan this scholarship, like, to essentially, like, bribe her and satiate, like, stop her parents from suing the school? Be like, welcome back. Oh, also, here's a scholarship. Please be quiet. Don't sue us.
I could definitely see that. I could also see it as, like, that's just her interactive's way of saying it's all okay at the end. Like, oh, she recovered and she came back and ended up excelling in her senior year and wound up getting this other scholarship that she was awarded even before the year ended. So look how great, success story, blah, blah, blah. But I could totally see that as well. Waverly being sneaky.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Oh, since we brought up Ned, I don't have too much to say about Ned. He is a phone character in this game. He's also our only phone character in this game, besides getting to call Megan. Bess is listed.
She's listed, but you can't talk to her. She always goes to voicemail. It's so upsetting. So upsetting. I want to talk to Bess about all these teen girls. She would be the one to really talk to about it, Instead, we get Ned, who's making digs about people who wear goth stuff. Fuck you, Ned.
Yeah.
Asshole.
One of the notes that I made was when we're on the phone with Ned, whenever we say goodbye to him, one of the things that Nancy says is just, bye, big guy.
Oh my god. Oh, so cringy.
Not like, love you, bye. Talk to you later. Bye, big guy.
Oh my god. Wait a second. Is she potentially talking about...
Oh, no, I hope not. I thought it was gonna be like, bye, friend zone.
Oh yeah, no.
See you later, alligator. But
yeah, definitely not a love you, bye. Like, just bye.
Bye, you.
Yeah. See ya. Have a good one.
Right, which is a big change from like, stay tuned for danger, where it's love you, Ned. Bye. Can't wait to talk to you later, sweetie. Smooches.
Or
and all that.
Sea of Darkness, where. Yeah.
They make a big deal out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
So
another thing. Did you have any more about Ned?
No.
Another thing that made me think about Ned is how bad Nancy is at being undercover.
Yes.
Because we can stand in the hallway directly outside of someone's bedroom door,
just talking
gossiping
about all
to
of
Ned
this. Yes.
about her undercover stuff. How undercover are you if you're thinking, yeah, I think Izzy might be the Black Cat after all, and you're standing directly in front of her bedroom door?
You should at least have to go outside.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And the fact that she comes to the school with literally nothing but a purse.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a hairbrush in the purse and a picture of her and Bess and George. And that's it. That's it. We spend multiple days at this school. Like, it's like at least, I mean, typically I would say the typical run is like, 3 days, 2 nights, Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's typically about how long it takes us all that based on how many times you have to go to sleep. Like,
well, yeah, because if you have to go to sleep because you're trying to get the squirrel thing or whatever. That
Right.
might take a few tries
Yeah.
to go into the locked
To the
classroom or whatever. But
right.
yeah, usually about 3 days is a good amount of time.
Yeah. Did you brush your teeth? Are there toothbrushes at the school? I can see, since it's a boarding school, I can see how, like, you know, there's probably, you know, personal care items and stuff. Yeah. There's probably school-issued shampoo or soap or something.
Maybe.
You're probably fine in that regard. But, like, clothes? She's wearing the same dirty clothes?
Uniform.
Oh, I guess.
They have uniforms that they have to wear. So I guess she's in a uniform. Maybe they gave her a few and it's already in her little closet or whatever. But, like, you don't have any other thing. That's her whole cover story, is that she's now a student here. She's come from this boarding school in France.
Supposedly that she's been kicked out of, by the way.
Yes, that's a big rumor mill topic, that everyone's talking about how she got kicked out of school in France. Well, okay, why did they choose France when, like, canon in the game says that Nancy cannot speak French, and then immediately when Izzy greets her, she says something to her in French, and Nancy's just like, okay. Why choose that? Say Canada or something, you know, Canada. Somewhere where they would automatically speak English.
Or anywhere else in the U.S.
Yeah. Just say, I'm from Illinois. Yeah. You know, just, it doesn't have to be France. And then say, I don't bring my bags as your reason of not bringing anything with you. Have one small suitcase that you're going to need your stuff for 3 days anyway.
I don't get it. So, okay, I do have a question about this. Well, not a question so much as a fan theory. Is that we never, at the very beginning, when we get, like, the premise for why Nancy is going into the school, it never tells us the headmaster or headmistress, specifically headmistress, is not named. They don't give a name to this headmistress, but she calls Nancy to come pose as a student. I just find this a little odd. Like, this is a weird way to try to solve, like, drama or problems that are happening inside of a school. Like, there are several reasons why you might want to hire a private detective or to, you know, investigate some weird happenstance or going on or whatever. Girls leaving scary notes for each other doesn't really rank for me. Like, it just seems like...
Well, the allergic reaction was a pretty serious
certainly,
offense, I think.
Certainly it was, but, like, that doesn't go, like, too far away from, like, some of the normal, like, accidents and happenstance that happen at, like, a boarding school to me. Like, you know, I'm sure girls get ill all the time, and, you know, whether or not it was, like, purposeful, like, someone, you know, did it or whatever, like, that's obviously serious and bad or whatever. It just doesn't seem to be like school officials are going to go out of their way to, like, hire a private investigator to investigate this. Like, it seems like probably what they're going to do is conduct their own investigation and, you know, mete out some kind of punishment through, like, school administrators or whatever. But so my thought is that Nancy probably has to know this headmistress, and this headmistress has to be like, how am I going to solve this problem? I know, I'm going to call Nancy, because I think probably the headmistress is Aunt Eloise.
I like that theory. I hadn't even considered this. Oh my goodness.
Well, just like Aunt Eloise is supposed to be, you know, supposedly a teacher, supposedly like, or there is several references to where she is involved in schooling, all of that stuff. It's kind of a different flavor and a lot of different stuff. But I just feel like this could totally be a case where this is Aunt Eloise's school, or maybe her alma mater or something, or, you know, she's an alumni of this school, or she used to teach here or something, and the current headmistress called her, and Aunt Eloise reached out to Nancy about it. Like, that would be so good. That would have been amazing, wouldn't it?
So cool.
Yeah.
And we could have had her as like a phone contact and more Aunt Eloise time. That would have been so good. Okay, because you said that reminded me of another point that I wanted to talk about. Have you seen hers website for Waverly Academy?
No.
Way back in 2009, it's no longer online. You can find it on the Wayback Machine, but way back in 2009, they made a website for Waverly. And I don't know if we said this at the beginning, but this one is based on Mystery Stories number 158, Curse of the Black Cat. And actually, it's I love it because the cover of the book actually looks like Nancy is standing outside in front of the hall in the game. It looks very similar to the game itself. I actually have it. I haven't read it. So I'm wondering if in the game or in the book, it gave us a little bit more detail about who the headmaster was or the headmistress was. Maybe it is something like that. But it reminded me, because you said alumni, on the the website that Her Interactive made back in 2009, there was a list of alumni, and there's actually a number of people that we are familiar with who are alumni.
Oh wait, yes. Because there are some references to it in the game, I think, and I forgot to write it down, but there was like a reference to a Penvillain being an alumni.
Or she was one of the first class, like the very first class at Waverly was Eleanor Penvillain, which is a reference to Curse of Blackmore Manor.
Yeah, but who else? Yeah.
Cool. So Professor Hotchkiss is an alumni,
of course.
So maybe Hotchkiss recommended us.
Yeah.
There's a couple people from the Dossier games, which I've only played each one once, so I don't remember a ton. But there's a few other Dossier references because the Dossiers came out around the same time as this game as well. But also Heather McKay and Dr. Quigley Kim also were Waverly alumni. So there's a few ways that they could have worked that in a little bit better of like some alumni, be it Aunt Eloise or Hotchkiss or whoever, recommends us, or maybe they are the headmistress or they know the headmistress. That would have been a really fun plot point.
Yeah, and would have made it a little bit more realistic, understandable, feasible for Nancy to go and investigate this girls' school. Yeah, totally.
I also on that website they have, I love how much thought the Her Interactive team put into this game at the time, because they have a whole map with the entire campus on there that you can see the other buildings besides just Ramsey Hall.
Interesting.
So that, I just love that they built the world out a little bit further and made the actual website.
Yeah, that's very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, anything else?
Oh, I'll just give another little compliment here. We'll end on a high note.
Yeah.
Because you said the 3 days that it takes place over the 3 days. I really okay. No, I actually have a couple more things.
Go for it. Take as much time as you want.
Yeah, one thing that I thought that they did really well is the weather in this game, because let's face it, the animation in these is not top of the line for all video games in general. Yeah. So this is the first time that we actually see the weather changing, and it based on our movements in the game, it has impacts on what it looks like outside. So it's really windy, and we can see leaves blowing around on the trees. After like the second day, it starts snowing a little bit, but it's not sticking to the ground yet. And on the third day, it's like actually piles of snow everywhere. So the further along in the game we get, the more snow we get. And even when Nancy walks outside, it remembers where you've gone and doesn't show footprints in that place until you've walked through there. And I just thought that was really good attention to detail there. Yeah.
Very well done. Very good attention to detail for something that like most people are not going to think about, notice, or care about, but like very, very good. Yeah. Way to feel like immersive in the game. Yeah.
It's just so well done. So the vibes are just so nicely accented. And we even, when we're snack shop boss, we can overhear people talking, and they're like, "Oh, the snowstorm's coming. It's going to start snowing soon." And then it actually does in the game. So it's just so good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then I have one other thing, unless you have something else that you want to
go for it. Go for it.
One thing that I love in these games are what I call time wasters. So anything that's not like required for gameplay or essential to the plot, anything where you're like, especially if you get stuck or you're not sure what to do next on a puzzle or something, there are other things that you can go and do in the game just to spend more time playing the game, even if you're not making progress. And I thought that this game did that really well. So if you want to go play Snack Shop Boss all day and just make sandwiches, you can absolutely do that and get bonus points or whatever. You can also play air hockey and the Scram, the darts game. Really nice. You can also like go into the library and play around on the library search catalog and find a bunch of little Easter eggs to other games and other books and other games. That way there's also like a matching game on the computer that you can play. I just love little time wasters like that, and I thought this game did that very, very well.
Honestly, those are, I don't know why, but those are my favorite parts of these games. I would do the snack shop thing for eternity. I would. And it's so silly. Like, why? It's like literally you're just clicking to make cookies. And I would do that all day. I would do that all day. Double Take, which I think is the name of the game, the matching game, is so fun. It's so fun. Right? It's so addictive. Every time Izzy tries to go beat my high score, I'm going to go back and try to beat Izzy's high score. Like, I'm just going to go do that. I have to be in the lead.
Did you finish the game with the high score?
I have before. I didn't this last time, but I have before.
You get an award if you do, so I was curious if you got the award this time.
I have before, but Yeah, of course. It's so fun. I mean,
I
now,
love Snack Shop.
I do hate air hockey with a passion. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Because it's so hard.
Yeah, the movement with your mouth,
Mhm.
it can be annoying.
Yeah.
So I lose that quite often. But it's still nice that they added it in there. I
Yeah.
like having something like that to do, because
Yeah.
the newer or the older games, some of the first in the series, don't really have much like that. If you get stuck on a puzzle, you're just going to sit there or go talk to people who have nothing to say, or just wander for hours. But then when we get into the later games, especially my favorite has got to be Phantom of Venice, playing Scopa all day long. I would do that all the time. But this game really, really accomplishes that very well.
For sure.
Okay, that's my rant on that.
So good. No, I'm glad you brought that up. It's so good.
So, what else do you have?
One quick little thing is that you mentioned this before, but that Izzy makes a crack about Nancy's hair, like her hair being on fire because it's red. So, Nancy has red hair in the games.
Confirmed.
Woo! Thank you. Okay. All right. Fascinating.
I like her interactive confirming my personal beliefs about Nancy's hair.
Well, and apparently red enough to where Izzy would be like, "Ooh, is your hair on fire?" Like, so that's got to be pretty red.
Just strawberry blonde.
No,
that's red.
That's red. That's red. The more you know.
So, thank you, Izzy.
Alrighty. Yeah.
Oh, what would you say was your favorite puzzle in the game? Did you have one that you really enjoyed?
So I enjoy the 3D rendering of the what do you ortho something views? Oh gosh.
Orthographic
views. Yeah. I like doing that. I don't know why. It's just kind of a silly little puzzle we have to do to get to or to get Corinne to give us something. I forget what, but yeah, I really enjoy that one. I don't enjoy the jumping puzzle from tree branch to tree branch, which is just a memory puzzle. No. Yeah. What about you?
I don't like the photos. All the pictures we have to take for
annoying.
Rachel, that's kind of a lame puzzle. And then we have to organize them in a puzzle manner. But
oh, no. I take it back. That's my favorite one. The logic puzzle on the website.
Oh, to like switch around.
I love
you have to
it.
say like where each girl's from, what their major is. Which, why do they have majors? They're in high school. That's not how diplomas work. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, maybe like what they want to major in college.
Yeah. Izzy tells us that she's a psych major at one point.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So, Team Izzy, because yes, I like that she's a psych major. So another point for her.
But so I love that one because I love logic
puzzles.
I love logic puzzles, all logic puzzles. So I love to do that. You know, like the girl who lives in Rhode Island is not directly next to the girl who majors in biology or whatever. So good. Do you want to give it a score, Kori?
Oh, no, it's difficult.
Yeah. Feel it from your heart.
Say 3.5.
3.5.
3.5.
Valid.
Because that's about what we scored Crystal Skull, wasn't it? And I feel like this is pretty on par with Crystal Skull for me. So
yeah.
How about you?
I would give it a 4.
4?
I would give it a 4 because it's just absolutely my game. Like all of the topics in it. I mean, aside from, I give it a 4 because it can't be a 5 because of all the plot holes and the plot that doesn't make any sense and the reasoning that don't make any sense. But I give it a 4 because it takes place at boarding school. And I am all about boarding school drama. It has Edgar, it's like, you know, features around Edgar Allan Poe, something that I also really love and enjoy. And the puzzles I feel like the puzzles are good, but they're not too challenging. And all the mini games you talked about, all the time wasters are good. Like, it's just a really, really enjoyable game for me, and something that like really hits me at my core. You know what I mean? Yeah. If I were a Nancy Drew game, I would probably be Warnings at Waverly Academy.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
I know you really like this one.
I do.
The drama can be a lot if you're an adult playing it. And it's like, oh, I've heard so much of this gossip already
and
in
it's
the
like,
past, but
it's like, girls, are we really getting upset at people stealing each other's boyfriends? Like, I want to be like the adult now that comes in and be like, rise above. Like, you do you. Like, don't focus on other people. Live your life. But
I gotta read the book now to
I
know more about this universe.
know.
See more about like Oxborough and the other buildings on campus, and what are the other classes doing while all this Black Cat stuff is going down? And yeah.
Yeah.
Good one. Have you seen the cover?
I haven't. Show me.
You grab it. I mean, does that not look like Ramsey Hall?
It's hard for me to see.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then there, in the map that her gives us, there's a pond behind the hall, so we get the pond there as well. How cute is that?
What does it say on
And
there?
I think it's the same plot. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, who's behind the pranks? George goes with her,
Okay.
and they actually go undercover as teaching interns,
Oh,
not as students.
makes so much more sense.
So much more sense. They're lured to a scary cemetery in the middle of a blizzard. Okay, that would have been a nice addition to this as well.
And very
I don't know why there'd be a cemetery on a boarding school campus, but whatever.
Well, so our next one. You want to talk about our next one?
Yes, we are going to go backwards in time a little bit here and play another really great one from this era. Game number 19.
The Haunting of Castle Malloy.
Yes.
This is a game that I used to despise. I'm going to throw it out there. I used to hate this game. As I have gotten older, I have loved it so much more. So I'm very interested to see that flip, you know what I mean? Because I feel like most of these games, it was like I loved them when I played them, and then now that I've replayed them, it's kind of like, you know? But so I'm very interested to explore why I like this game so much more than I do now than I did when I first played it. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, we will see you then, regular Drews.
Yeah, we'll see you then. Thank you for listening to Regular Nancy Drew. Email us at regularnancydrew@gmail.com.
If you like this episode, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
You can also follow us on Instagram at Regular Nancy Drew and Twitter at RegularND.
You can also support us on Patreon.
Patrons at the $3 level vote on upcoming episode topics, and all patrons receive early access to each episode as well as weekly bonus content.
And to all you regular Drews out there, thanks for listening.